Hello and welcome to my weekly video blog, and today on A Vogel Talks Menopause I'm going to be talking about 3 more menopause symptoms that may surprise you. If you like my tips and advice, then please subscribe and remember to hit the bell icon. We know the range of common menopause symptoms like hot flushy sweats, aches and pains, low mood, irritability. But a lot of women are experiencing what they consider to be strange symptoms that are very worrying, but they're not quite sure if they're anything to do with the menopause. And if they are to do with the menopause, why is it happening to them? So here are 3 more today that do come up on a reasonably regular basis. Number 1 is something called Globus, or you're experiencing troubling swallowing when you eat or drink anything. So what is happening here is with the Globus, women say they feel as if there's almost a big lump of something stuck in their throat. It can stop them from swallowing if you're eating, if you're drinking. And with the trouble swallowing, very often it just feels as everything's really tight or dry in the throat, and women tell me that if they're having something to eat, everything seems to get stuck and they need to drink a lot of water whilst they're eating. What's happening with these is that there's several issues that can trigger this. One of them is dryness, and we do know that the mouth and the throat can become extra dry in the menopause. The mucous membranes just start to dry out slightly. It may well be that you're not producing enough saliva in the mouth. And what happens then is when you try and eat something, there's not enough saliva to help to wash the food down past the throat, and this is what causes the problem. With the Globus, very often it's to do with anxiety, that the muscles of the throat can go into spasm. And if this happens once, you know, it can be really frightening. You're trying to eat something and everything's getting stuck in the throat, and you think perhaps you're going to choke, or you feel that you can't breathe properly. So it sets up almost like a panic attack. So the next time you go to eat something, already in the back of your mind is the worry that this is going to happen again, which then triggers the exact symptoms. So with these 2 issues, there's a number of things that you can do. For dry mouth, you can look at the sea buckthorn oil, because that's known to help with dryness in the mucous membranes. If you feel that you're not producing enough saliva, if everything's really dry when you're chewing in your mouth, there is a lovely herb called centurium, which is known as a bitter, and this helps to trigger the gastric juices. If it's more to do with Globus, so if you start to get panicky when you're eating, you can look at herbs such as valerian, because they're known to help muscle relaxation and anxiety. You could also look at magnesium. This is a really nice one to help with muscle relaxation and anxiety as well. Obviously, with this one, if you find that nothing is helping, please just get this one double checked by your doctor. Also check with your dentist. If your mouth is really dry, there may be an indication that you've got a blocked saliva duct, and obviously these can be treated quite easily. Number 2 is you find that your voice is changing. Several things again can happen here. You may find that your voice is getting a bit deeper, maybe a little bit more masculine. You may find that it's getting a little bit weaker. And I've had 1 or 2 queries from ladies who are singers, and they are finding that they just can't project their voice. Their singing voice is getting a bit weaker or a little bit broken up. Again, what can happen here are a number of things. It can be the dryness. So it can be due, if you find that your mouth is dry generally, then that can affect the voice box and the whole of the throat area. It could also be due to testosterone. We as women, we have certain levels of testosterone too, and for some women in the menopause, the testosterone can increase or it can stay high whilst the other hormones decrease, and that can affect the tone of the voice. It can make it quite a bit deeper. So what to do here is you can look at buckthorn oil. Remember the water too, especially if you're doing a lot of singing, you know, just make sure that you're taking plenty of water. A high strength garlic supplement is also known to help with the voice, so you could try this one along with the sea buckthorn oil. But again, you know, if you're finding that your voice is a real problem, just get this double checked. Number 3 is very smelly sweat. Now, this just isn't about having strong BO, which can happen in the menopause. Hormonal changes can cause all sorts of things to do with our sweat mechanism, our body heat regulation. But there are a couple of odour problems that can occur in the menopause that are due to very specific things that can be really quite difficult to treat. And although they're not very common, they are extremely distressing. And, you know, I've had a few women who have really struggled with these ones. So the first thing is that your sweat can start to smell almost like vinegar, a sort of pickled smell. Now this is due to something called propionibacteria. So what's happening here is that there is a specific range of bacteria on the skin, and these are breaking the sweat down, and the probionic bacteria are the same bacteria that can occur in the fermentation process of vinegar. So this is why you can end up with this kind of vinegary smell. The other one is called nonanol, if I pronounce that correctly, and this can be almost like a fat smell, a very sort of rancid smell. And women tell me that if they suffer from this one, that it's almost like there is a layer of oil on the skin. The smell that's contained in it can then get onto your clothes, onto your bed sheets, and they have a very, very strong kind of fatty odour that can be practically impossible to wash out of clothes and bedding. With this particular one, what often happens here is, again, it can be due to testosterone, that high levels of testosterone can be produced. That in itself gives you a more masculine, sweaty smell. And very often the more masculine sweat produces more sebum on the skin, and with the combination of bacteria and this whole process, you then end up getting a layer of sort of oil or fat on the skin, which compounds this particular problem. How to treat them? They're not particularly easy, but there are certain things you can do. You can look, first of all, sometimes it can be due to things like constipation, poor elimination, so get your bowels working well. A probiotic can sometimes be really helpful. Maybe look at doing a little bit of a liver detox just to help the whole process of elimination along. With the nonanol, because it's very often due to very high testosterone levels, then I would ask the doctor to check that for you, because there may be certain things that they can give just to help to balance your testosterone. With the nonanol too, it's said that Persimmon soap can be possibly quite helpful here, so that's maybe something that you could look into. With both of these problems, you need to allow the body to sweat properly, and one of the things that can be a big contributory factor is antiperspirants, because they are going to block the sweat from under the arms, and it's going to cause more sweating throughout the rest of the body. So with either of these two issues, then go for natural deodorants that still allow your body to sweat naturally. The other quick thing to remember here is that our smell can change too. Like pregnancy, in the menopause, our smell can become much more acute. So you can end up smelling things that other people can't. So sometimes if you feel that you've got a really strong body odor, it's not. It's just the fact that you're sense of smell and your nose is picking things up that normally you wouldn't do. So I hope you found these ones interesting. There are so many strange menopause symptoms. So if you have something that you're a little bit puzzled about, then please, you're welcome to contact me and we can maybe look into it for you. And until then, I will see you next week for another edition of A. Vogel Talks Menopause.